Wow. Okay. How'd you do? I have to share a little story with you because as we were taping this and when we got done, my amazing camera director, producer, Fabulosity Martin said to me, wow, I was so mellow. He's like, I just wanted to make some bracelets. And I get a chuckle because it's the truth. It's like once you get into the groove of it and you see how easy it is, it's like you just want to make stuff, you know. So whether you're beading or you're weaving the rainbow bracelet, it's so meditative. You know, I just having the jewel loom for me is such a blessing that I get to share it with you and that I can make that connection between happiness and healing and yeah, thank you. Okay. So your loom should look like this, your project. You should have the base here done with the rows needed in order for your bracelet to fit you. In fact, let's bring in the finished one here. I wear it all the time. And I wear it with multiple stretchy bracelets. It's so cool looking, super cool. So we've got threads and we need to do some finishing. So there's a lot of detail. So I'm going to put on my glasses and show you how to finish the bracelet, the amazing awareness cuff. So this is my last row. And what I'm going to do is, I'll see if I can do it from this angle. But remember how I showed you and told you that you're always on top of the warps with your needle and thread? Well, in this situation, what I want to do is I want to go underneath to help anchor. And I do think that I'm going to turn myself this way. Just want to make sure that you can see what's happening here. So I've got the needle and thread. And right now, my thread is on top of the warp. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the needle and I'm coming underneath the bead. So instead of being on top of the warps, I'm on the bottom. See that? So what I did was I ran my needle through the bead hole underneath the warps. And what I have found that this does is it just gives that extra oomph. It helps so that when you finish the bracelet, these guys are more connected to the warps. They're more tight. It's more secure. And I'm always thinking about that. You know, how can I make your experience with your finished pieces the best? Okay, so again, I just went back through the beads and underneath the warps. And now I'm going to come back on the top. So it's just that extra little security. And then we're just going to pull through. Now to get rid of all this excess thread, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come through the top bead here and I pull through. I come out between the first and the second bead, and then I'm going to take the needle, hello little guy, and I'm just tucking it under that warp. Do we got that? Like I'm losing my voice. And then we're just going to, bring the needle through that loop. So what I'm doing is I'm making a knot. So instead of making the knot on the side warps, I want to hide it. So I'm just going in and I'm making the knot in the middle of my warps so that I can hide it. Perfect. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to take the needle and the thread. Whoopsie, where am I at? There I am. Okay. So I just wanted to align when I went down with the needle and thread. So now that knot, it's so tiny you'll never really be able to see it, but it's in there. It's in between the beads. And then I took my needle and I went back down under so that it would turn. So now the knot is on the back side of the bracelet. Okay, got that? And I'm not going to trim just yet, because remember how we had thread that we started with up here at the top? Well, I did the same exact process at the opposite end of my project. Okay, so the same exact thing. I took the needle, went underneath those beads, and then I tied off in the middle of the warps. Now, I had added extra thread at some point, and so I need to hide that. So I went ahead and I threaded my needle, and I'm just going to come up here, out and in between the first and second bead, and grab the warp, and yeah, I got a really tiny piece here, so hopefully it stretches. And it did. Okay, cool beans. Hopefully I can get 2 knots. Let's see, we might be pushing it, but we're gonna try. So again, I'm gonna go through there underneath the warp. Oh, okay, well I lost it, but that's okay, because we can, there we go. Got it? This is one of those Thumbelina moves. What I'm trying to do is get the thread back through this loop to create a knot. Come on, little guy, thank you. And what I do is bring in my third hand, grab that tail. It's like surgery. Awesome, I did it, yay. Okay, and then I'm just gonna tuck that down to the bottom so that I can trim it. And I love this. You know, this is, I'm always, when I first wrote the instructions for the Jewel Loom all those years ago, you know, there was a different way I started, a different way that I did things. But I'm always thinking, like, how can I make it better? How can I make it easier for you? How can I make your project more clean, more professional looking? And I never was really a fan of knotting off on the side of the warps. I didn't like the way that it looked. So this has me really excited, and I really appreciate this look, and I know that you will as well. Okay, so now that we have that all done, we're ready to cut the piece off of the loom. I know. So I want you to take care of all of your loose ends, and when we come back, I'm going to show you how to do that.